Hello there, this is Mary. I am here for this week's episode of Church on Monday for Creatives. Yesterday was a really wonderful service for me, where one of the things that we got was a sermon delivered by our deaconess, Sheila Kemboy, and she did a beautiful message on the pursuit of the true knowledge of God. And for this week's episode of Church on Monday, I was considering what it looks like for me to pursue the true knowledge of God as a creative. And where that leads me is understanding that my genesis as a creative is from God. It's not from my gift or my talent. Oh, you're a good writer, or you write well, you should be a writer. It's not from the certificates I have. Oh, you did this degree in communication, so you should probably do something in this field. No, before I was formed in my mother's womb, God appointed me as a creator, as a creative. It's one of the things He's called me to do. And so it's not just something that I have given myself to do, it's something that He has given me to do. And when I think about it that way and I understand that my genesis as a creative is from God, then for me to fully understand and to come into the truth of who I am as a creative, I have to go back to God and understand who is God as a creator. I mean, that's actually one of the first revelations we get about God in the Bible is as a creator, because we see Him creating the universe in Genesis 1. And so going back to that and really getting a deeper understanding of what it means for God to create and that blueprint that He's laid out. Because if He's my father and I am His daughter, then it means that I follow after Him. I do things the way He does. I create the way He does. The output of my creativity should be the same as the output of His creativity. It should be life-giving. And so even as I think about it this week, as I'm finalizing plans for launching book number 2, finally, I'm thinking about what it means for me to create as the Lord intended me to. What it means for me to create as the Lord appointed me to. What it means for me to create not as the world expects me to, not as people expect me to, not as the internet expects me to, not as the industry expects me to, but to create based on the blueprint and the pattern that God appointed me to. That's where I'm going back to, and really just taking time to go back and say, hey Lord, here's a book, we are done with it almost. Is it speaking to what you intended it to speak to? Will it share your message the way you want it shared? Will it bring people into encounters with you as you desire? Just going back and checking back, because we can get all the fantastic reviews as authors, and we can get all the sales and all of that. But for me, if God can't look at something I've put out and say, well done, then all these other things don't mean much. And if He can look at it and say, well done, and there's not much of an applause coming from anywhere else, that's more than enough for me. And so it's this week looking at the true pursuit, the full pursuit of the true knowledge of God as a creative. It's going back to my genesis and really just spending time with God and hanging out with that and meditating on that, where I don't allow any voice that is contrary to who God has called me to be, to speak into my reality and to speak to my work. I don't allow any voice that is negative, and negative in the sense that it does not align to what God has called me to be. I don't allow that to have hold over me as a creative, because as creatives we tend to be very open to what other people have to say, and even what our internal voice has to say. I have it that we are too friendly with what people call the imposter syndrome. We play too nice. Like, I just feel like an imposter and I'm just gonna live with it. I'm like, no, don't sit there comfortable feeling like an imposter. Fight that thing with the word of God. Fight it with the truth of God. I don't walk around with any notion whatsoever that I am not where I'm supposed to be, because I am. I am writing because I'm supposed to be writing. I'm publishing books because that's what God appointed me to do. I'm putting out the content I'm putting out because that's what God called me to do. Now, recently I started posting about the theology of romance, and there's a lot more coming with that. But I'm doing that because that's what God has appointed me to do in this season. And so I'm not walking around making reasons or excuses or giving all these limitations a voice and an entrance into my life. No. You don't have a say in who I am, because God has already said who I am. And so I don't entertain any contrary voices that would have me think I am anything other than what God has called me to do. And so I think that's really where I am. Because I work with creatives, I minister to creatives as a church leader. I work with creatives over on Telexpress. I interact quite a bit with creatives. I've worked in the creative industry for nearly a decade now. I've seen a lot of this, and that's why I'm this agitated about it, because I'm like, you can't be this gifted and this wrong about your gifting and about your ability and be comfortable with it, where you despise something that God put in you as a treasure because you don't have the accurate understanding of who you are in God. That's why you'll always see me talking about God and talking about Jesus, because I firmly believe that until we submit ourselves as creatives to God, there's an element of our function as creatives that will never be in alignment. There will always be something off. And so, this week, Church on Monday and throughout the week is me going back to God and really just meditating and embracing anew and afresh that reality that my genesis as a creative comes from Him. And so anything I need in my work as a creative, I get from Him. If I need wisdom, I get it from Him. If I need knowledge in certain areas of creativity, I get it from Him. If I need direction and guidance in how to steward my creativity, how to run the business side of my creativity, I get it from Him. There's nothing that I need as a creative that I cannot get from God. And that is where I find rest this week and even beyond. So that's it. Church on Monday. I don't know what you got wherever you were this past weekend for service, but I would love to hear all about it. I believe in the edification of the body when we fellowship with one another. But that's pretty much it. I'll see you in the course of the week in the regular posts over on this page. Look out for some great announcements coming soon concerning book number 2. It's been a long time coming, but I can guarantee it's worth the wait. And I'll see you next Monday for the next episode of Church on Monday. Till then, have an amazing week. I pray that you will be led of God in everything that you do.